Hello guys, welcome to today's video where we're going to be discussing Fallout 76 and the Wastelanders update. Fallout 76, the latest addition to the Fallout franchise, released mid-November 2018. It excited many fans who had long been waiting for an online Fallout game since 2007. This game is set a mere 25 years after the Great War, when the bombs were dropped, making it the prequel to all previous games, and as such had many fans interested in playing due to the potential this time period held. Not only this, but it was marketed as an online action-playing role game, and it would only be populated by other players who would pick their roles and play them. This created further hype for the game. While in theory it sounded exciting, most players who played the release date of Fallout 76 can agree upon one simple fact: this game was a shambolic mess. The usual issues obviously occurred, such as game crashes, glitches, connectivity issues, but playing the game, the biggest issue that most people noticed was the lack of NPCs to interact with. While there were main missions and holotapes that you could find background information about the world on, and later on events were added, the lack of actual NPCs within the game made it feel empty and unfinished. And many would argue that the hallmark of the Fallout games was the NPCs, their witty banter, their personalities and such. And while you would see the occasional friendly robot or player, there is no other form of interaction, and when talking to these robots, they had preset dialogue you had to listen to, and you couldn't reply to them in any way. The usual branching dialogue of a Fallout game was missing. A good example of this is looking at Biv in the Nuka Shine speakeasy. He speaks to you, but you cannot reply back to him. Equally, many players disliked this idea of holotapes and robots giving them their missions. This led to players overall feeling the game was unfinished and empty, with the occasional encounter with a hostile mob. I personally felt that I was not playing a Fallout game. Instead, I felt I was playing an early release beta, and it genuinely upset me as I was looking forward to this Fallout game. And considering the news and the scandal around this game and the outright lies told about this game, it looked like it might be the end of the Fallout franchise. Then a small light appeared. After the Wilds update, we got Fallout First update. At a quick glance, this update appeared to deal with a number of issues with the game. Fallout First was and is a well-meaning idea that was going to introduce private worlds, a secondary fast travel location, as well as bonus content such as an increased inventory capacity in the stash boxes and a bonus of atom points to spend in the store. However, this was locked behind a paywall, and I mean a serious paywall. We are talking $12.99 a month or $100 a year. Now, considering that the release cost of this game was 50 quid, paying double the game's price every year just to have basic content that was missing was unacceptable, and it led to three main outcomes within this game. It led to people quitting the game, feeling cheated and angry by this transaction. Some people bought the subscription, and that had a whole host of issues which I'll get into in a second. Third option was remaining players targeted Fallout First players in public sessions, leaving them till they quit the games. It was almost a mini war, but this was just the player reaction. Fallout First's subscription itself had other issues. It was broken, essentially. There was a whole host of issues that were reported, from stash box inventory being removed to private worlds being full of dead looted mobs, suggesting that private servers would just recycle public ones, which was not what they were paying for. For many and myself, the cost of this extra content and the fact that it was broken was the final straw, and upon seeing this I quit the game, and I know I'm not alone, as I assumed that I would never be able to afford any of the content that would fix the game, and I also assumed that the content being released would be broken as well. But that all changed when Wastelanders was announced. Now, this DLC has been in the works since the initial release of the game as a reply to the criticism. It was meant to be released in the last few months of 2019, but it was delayed until the 14th due to Bethesda wishing to improve upon it, and obviously the COVID-19 situation pushed its date back even further as there was a transition to remote working. But however, when it was released finally on the 14th of April, and it was released free of charge, it added a lot of what was missing to the game, from NPCs to branching dialogue options, hostile NPCs, factions, reputations, raiders, settlers, cultists. Personally, I found the smaller additions were also quite fun, such as in-game holotape tutorials for building a camp, as well as wandering traders and an increased amount of random encounters. Overall, it made the game feel less empty, more like a Fallout game. I'd find random events like a drunk settler or a really annoyed raider, these sort of things, you know, what were missing from the game before. It felt full for the first time. And well, judging from the general reaction of both the community and my own experiences of playing Wastelanders, it seems to have fixed a very large amount of the issues that caused me and others to just quit this game, as well as bringing aspects such as the faction system from previous games, like 4 and New Vegas, back into 76. However, this being said, this is Fallout and this is Wastelanders, so there are issues. There are always issues. Primarily with this Wastelanders DLC, the NPCs would originally loot dead players. So if you're unsure of what this means, when you die on Fallout 76, you drop all your junk inventory, which you use for crafting, and you have to go back and retrieve it, but anybody can pick that up while it's been dropped. So the NPCs would go and gather this inventory up, and then when you killed them, you didn't get this back, so there was no way to recover it. However, despite these rather irritating issues, they were patched relatively quickly. I think that the implementation of NPCs within the game was definitely a positive move. It feels more like a Fallout game for starters, and it adds more of that Fallout charm and goofiness. As well as this, the dialogue options added, for me personally, the experience of role-playing again. I could pretend to be smart, cocky, kind, arrogant through the dialogue options, meaning that my character had more of a shape rather than just a faceless rather than a faceless online character, which was my favourite part of 4, New Vegas and 3, that role-playing, how you could shape how others viewed you within the game. I guess what I'm trying to say is that this DLC increased the immersion for me personally, and coming back to the game, it felt like an entirely different game that I enjoyed. Equally, the adding of NPCs has meant a large number of abandoned sites within the game have been remodelled and filled with settlers, raiders, and a variety of other NPCs, which again makes the game more interesting. Rather than finding abandoned settlement after abandoned settlement, there's actually a variety of different things to find now. Equally, the implementations of Wastelanders was done smoothly with the main storyline. I'm sure I'm not alone in doing this, but returning to the game, I created a new character. I wanted to see whether or not the story of finding the Overseer and the Wastelander Overseer's actual story would interact with each other, and it turns out that there is a level restriction on doing the Wastelanders mission of 20, as well as a requirement for you to at least get the inoculation for the Scorched Plague. So it's blended nicely, it doesn't stick out, it fits very nicely, and it has that detail. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, it feels like a Fallout game. It's not perfect, it's not done by any bloody means, but it is damn near better than what it was. But there's issues. Duping items and bugs, glitches, and just general bullshit still occur in this game, like, all the time. Like, it's still raw, but it feels like Fallout 76 is a Fallout game. But I'm also very aware that the bad press from the launch of the game, plus the general experience, which was pretty shitty, is going to push a lot of people away from this game. I know I'm not alone in saying this, that I still was apprehensive to play this to begin with. I was expecting some god-awful piece of shit, but it wasn't. It has been a delight to play. I look forward to playing this game now. It doesn't feel like a slug. But overall, I think it's shaping up. It's significantly improved since the launch date. And I'd say if you played it or you gave up on it, give it a go. The Wastelanders is free. It's 60 gig, 62 gig, so it takes a minute to download, but it is worth the wait. It's definitely better. So I just wanted to say thank you for watching this. I know how late this video is in terms of the release date and the fact that we're like, what, April, May, like 2 months past when it was released, but I was locked away from my 76 copy when the lockdown hit, and I only really just got it now. But regardless of that, please like, subscribe, and comment what you'd like to see, and have a great day.